Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was muted for the first two welcomes, so already off to a great start. I have with me two very special guests, Shane Beeps and Stanislav from the Dive Down podcast. If you have not already, check out their podcast. They'll tell you where to find it, but it's great. I listen to it every week. The Modern Streamers League, we are right now in week 2, night 2 of what should be about a 4-week triple elimination tournament. Shane, say hello. Introduce yourself. Right on the spot. Right. Hey,
everybody. My name's Shane. one of the hosts of the Dive Down. Stanislav and I and our co-host Dave have been doing the Dive Down for 73 episodes, Stan, and
plus bonus episodes.
The bonus. Don't forget the bonus episodes.
They count.
Their work. Right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I guess what you want us to do, like just the. Well, I'll let Stanislav go, and then we can talk about the Dive Down.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about myself. I'm Stanislav, Magic player in Chicago. What's up? Really happy to be here. Really excited to talk about these games of Modern. We got a killer lineup tonight, including some players who I look up to and would be nervous to say hello to in person.
Thank you. You don't
and
be
now
nervous.
I get to do commentary.
Don't be nervous.
Oh, I wasn't talking about myself. No.
Awkward.
Oh no. Yeah, but we do a podcast it's half Modern, half Pioneer. When we started, it was just Modern, but now there are other formats.
Yeah, other formats with larger card pools and Standard. So
yeah,
and they're both a lot of fun. And yeah, so the Dive Down is a show for casual spikes, is kind of our intended audience, and casual spikes means people like us, people who like winning, people who like playing Magic, like learning about new decks and strategies. But they're not necessarily grinding every GP. They're not necessarily grinding a league every night. They are getting to FNM. They're playing on, or not right now, but now they're playing on Magic Online. They're playing they're playing over Skype. They're playing over Zoom. The people who, they like Modern, they like Pioneer, and they like listening to podcasts on Friday mornings.
Casual Spike has always kind of resonated with me because I go to a couple tournaments a year, but I think about Magic the Gathering every single day. My wife's like,
yeah, it's weird,
so what
right?
are you doing right now? And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm building a deck. And she's like, and then I'll finish it. I'll show it to her. And she's like, this is the exact same deck you showed me last week. I'm like, oh, no, it's 2 cards different. I feel like that's kind of like a casual spike, right? Like, you get so excited about changing 2 sideboard cards because you can pivot and attack, but you're mentally in there, but then you're not. Maybe the availability of going to every single tournament isn't there. I can't travel across the country, obviously, right now, but even before, and go grind GPs. But I feel like I'd like to. Is that kind of in line with your casual spike definition?
Well, who doesn't love a Comp REL event every once in a while? I feel like when we started the show, we were grinding the FNMs and the LGS. In my case, it was more of a Tuesday night Magic when we played Modern.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you still call it FNM on Tuesday, or do you call it TNM?
I think I do call it FNM, actually.
I think I just call it going to the game store.
Yeah.
I think I usually call it I'm going out for a pack of smokes, and I come back 4 hours later.
That's advice, Stanislav. This is an all ages broadcast. Don't smoke, kids.
That's true. Going out for some milk.
21 now, I guess, right? So this, real quick, we'll get back to your awesome podcast in a bit. I want to plug you guys as much as I can. The Modern Streamers League we have right now is a triple elimination tournament. Each player of the 16 players we have submitted 3 deck lists. And when a deck loses a match, it is forever eliminated, removed from the tournament. So if you have 3 losses, you are done, which means we should be having our first eliminations tomorrow night. Hopefully I'm not amongst them. So
well, we're about to find out.
We're about to find out if I'm going to go to the elimination bracket. I'm currently 1-1. Suffered my first loss last night to Drake Sasser. Pretty good player if you haven't heard of him. all 16 players on the MSL you can check out. They're listed on modernstreamersleague.com, along with the deck list if you want to follow along either live right now or in the future on YouTube. The first match we have tonight is myself against KO Diamonds, a legendary rivalry. KO Diamond said he wanted to submit a video basically talking about how his deck was going to destroy mine. Unfortunately, he couldn't build it in time, so hopefully we'll have that for you tad belated tomorrow. I, however, do have a deck tech. I'll be playing Amulet Titan Karn, and I will give you a quick little fun deck tech before that match. Shane, what are you excited about for the next match coming up?
Well, am I allowed to talk about the cards in these decks?
Deck lists are public information. They just got posted on the Twitch chat.
Well, I am a dyed-in-the-wool Karnman, so seeing Karn the Great Creator in this deck, seeing a Wishboard in this deck, I always love decks that are utilizing this package. I also always love seeing what people choose to play in the Karn package. And I haven't actually played myself any of these Amulet Titan Karn decks, so I'm interested to see how this performs. I think we've both played Saint Doom. We've both played the Teferi 3, the ramping into the Karn stuff with the associated Devoted Druid package.
Druid Karn, yes.
And then I've played the Mono Green Walkers deck in Pioneer that utilizes the Karn package. That's a blast. And Neoform, other end of the spectrum. It's it's going to go really fast, and I think you're hoping that you can shut it down before it does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's not underestimate how fast Titan can go.
That's a good
Amulet
point.
Titan. Sometimes on the podcast, that's right. We talk about Modern occasionally being a drag race format, almost like stock cars. I guess those are different cars. But
those are different cards.
These are two decks that can threaten a turn 2 kill, and seeing which can actually do it faster, sometimes with pretty limited interaction in either of these lists.
I will say the current iteration of Amulet Titan wins less consistently on turn 2, because at turn 2 you either require additional pieces like Explorers or Zeus's type thing. The Dryads aren't as good at the turn 2 kill as Azusa is. Azusa is just like a natural turn 2 kill with 2 Amulets and a Titan and a bounce land and a regular land. Dryad doesn't do that. So I only run one Azusa, which means my chance of getting a turn 2 kill is much lower. Granted, with Explore, you can also get a turn 2 kill. It's just a lot more things need to go right for you.
So we're about to see 2 turn 2 kills in a row by you, right?
I hope so.
We're definitely about to see 2 turn 2 kills in a row. Just depends to see who has to aggressively mulligan more.
Mm-hmm. So there is something about... So the deck's coming up, it's going to be Neo Brand against Amulet Titan. And there's definitely something to which decks you play when. I could be playing my Jund deck right now, but I was looking at the matchup, and Kevin's Neo Brand list has a lot of Veil of Summers and Leylines in the side. So I was like, if I play Jund, it doesn't even necessarily... If he just plays Leyline turn game 2, I can't even disrupt him, and I can't close a game quickly. Meanwhile, Amulet Titan, maybe I can just race him, and Karn with Grafdigger's Cage can certainly interact with him as well. That was my thought process.
Though this deck is running main deck Veil of Summer as well.
Yeah. So
have fun.
That's that. We're going to jump straight into that. So the matchups that we have tonight are myself against KO Diamonds. We have Garrett Martin against Dylan Hand, round 2. K-Ponce against Yamakiller, round 3. Spider Space against Francisco Palachek, round 4. So those are our 4 matchups tonight. I'm going to have a short break into a deck tech video about the Amulet Titan Karn deck and jump straight into that, straight from that into the game. So we'll see you all in just a moment. times of great pandemic. We need to stay inside, hunker down, survive. A lot of you may know me as a mid-range player, a fair player. I'm not the good guy anymore. No more kid stuff. Welcome to the Ramping Titan, Amulet Titan Karn. This deck can win turn 2 with a turn 1 Amulet of Vigor, a turn 2 Amulet of Vigor, and a Azusa Lost But Seeking, ramping into a Primeval Titan with a Karoo land. The Primeval Titan will then get Boros Garrison and Slayer's Stronghold, untapping both twice, creating a 10 power haste trample creature, which then upon attack gets Sunhome and Vesuva copying Boros Garrison, swinging for 20 damage turn 2. Each time I've killed an opponent turn 2, I tell them, I'm sorry this happened to you, but this is modern magic. This deck is built around Primeval Titan, which tutors up specific lands in specific times. Against Burn and Aggro, Radiant Fountain pulls double duty. Against Graveyard decks, Bajuka Bog is a lifesaver. Against Counter Magic, Cavern of Souls may be the best card in our deck. This deck not only plays tutors like Summoner's Pact and Ancient Stirrings, but also Karn, the Great Creator, fetching up Walking Ballista, Engineered Explosives, Worm Coil Engine, Liquimetal Coating, and Grafdigger's Cage right from our sideboard. This allows the deck to hunker down and survive and turn the corner until Primeval Titan can just win the game. The sideboard has Ether Gusts, Beast Within, Dismember, and Reclamation Sage as the removal package. Obstinate Baloths help survive against Burn and Discard, and Ramanak Excavator says, you can destroy my lands, but they're coming back. Ghost Quarters in the sideboard is an extra removal spell against land decks, like other Titan decks in Tron. This deck's prime core is looking to ramp out with turn 1 Scout or Stirrings into an Amulet. We have Uro, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and Azusa, along with Explore to ramp out our Titans. And let's not forget the zombies. Field of the Dead triggers, filling up our board with the Walking Dead. Valakut, in conjunction with Dryad, turns each of our land drops into not only extra zombies with field, but also colorless lightning bolts, which can really give our opponent a bad day. So remember, stay inside, hunker down, survive.
All right, Stanislav. So we have video with the Saint Doom. He's already chuckling, it appears. Apparently, oh, there's his hand. I don't know what he was chuckling about. He had nothing to laugh about. Okay.
Ooh, that's a questionable hand.
Yeah, would you keep this? You played some Amulet Titan in your day.
No, this looks like a pretty easy pass. It's a slow, very slow hand, and it looks like Michael shipped it. Good call.
Going down to 6. So his hand looks like he has some decent options.
Yeah.
Start with the Scout.
I love starting with the Scout, holding back Ancient Stirrings just to see maybe what you find after a draw or two. It doesn't seem like we have a strong ramp plan yet.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's only a couple lands in hand. You can stir for another one. Hopefully get that Karn online.
No.
Go into the chat. What happened?
No, never open the chat.
Never read the chat. Okay, draws a land. That's good. I think any land, almost any land Saint Doom draws is going to be advantageous for him.
Right. And that was a Slayer stronghold too. So that's going to be really effective once we get a Titan out on the board, potentially for making like a quick kill, since that's the land, one of the lands that gives the Titan haste.
There's an Allosaurus Rider.
Ooh.
That was fast.
Passing back.
So Neoform, Stan, remind me, Neoform's goal is to, Gristlebrand? Get a Gristlebrand as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, really, Neoform's goal is to get your opponent to scoop as fast as possible.
Yeah, or just hit F6 until they're dead.
Right. That's definitely a stand method. All right, so what do we have on this Ancient Stirrings? I see a couple Castle Garenbrig and a Gruul Turf.
Takes the Garenbrig.
Of course.
Helpful for pacting into a Titan.
Yeah, and thanks to that Summoner's Pact, that's probably going to help us get to a Titan earlier. Garenbrig especially being a useful way to cast it as soon as possible. But we still don't have a good ramp plan, right? It's just this Sakura Tribe scout.
So with the Allosaurus Rider across the table, though, as soon as KO Diamonds gets any kind of way to like Neoform it or Evolution it, that they'll have a Gristlebrand in hand? Or on the battlefield, rather?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the whole deck is designed to just get that one of Gristlebrand.
So pacting into the Titan, I imagine. Yep, can quickly cast. So like, man, that start looked rough. And then we quickly went from 2 lands into 6 available mana to cast that Titan, to get 2 more lands. Let's see what he peels up here off of the ETB trigger.
Valakut and Field of the Dead, probably?
Yeah, with the Dryad in hand, Valakut becomes more potent, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And that Valakut could, in theory, kill the Allosaurus Rider, at which point it might be game over.
Yeah, because then they have KO Diamonds has nothing to Neoform or Evolution off of.
Yeah. This is exciting. That's what, turn 3 Titan? Because we top-decked a basic forest?
Yeah, an incredible string of draws, but that's what the card's in your deck for. That's what I always say.
That's true. The Titan player isn't out of the woods yet, though. Michael's looking pretty nervous, clearly worried about what Code Diamonds is about to find off that Serum Visions. But if you're casting Serum Visions, that means you are digging.
Yeah, I'm curious. KO Diamonds has 5 cards in hand, so maybe they're just stuck on some. They were stuck on lands earlier, I believe. This is their 4th turn, so just their 3rd land. Looks like a Neoform about to be cast.
Looks like Michael is praying.
Oh, Metamorphose. Oh,
no, they're still digging. They're still digging.
Make green-blue mana.
Saint Doom definitely has an out here. It's not over, especially because now we have zombies to block that dinosaur.
Don't forget to pay your pact, Michael.
Is he going to pay it? Looks like he's about to pay it. All right, he paid it.
Whew. That was tense for a second. Okay, here comes the Dryad. Got a lot of mountains now, if we so choose.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of anything.
Yeah, top decking Simic Growth Chamber is really nice now because we can use a couple Valakut triggers to just kill that rider. And
no, he's just going dome.
Going dome? Does he just have the kill here?
Well, when Titan swings, he does get more triggers. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think this is actually probably game over.
Yeah, just playing more lands. So he's going to be swinging with many creatures, including a Primeval Titan.
I'm only counting 3, Shane. It's not that much.
You know what, Primeval Titan, Stan, what do you think? Is this top 2, top 3 still the best creature in Modern?
Best green creature.
That worked. Well, it's okay. Got a few triggers here. Stan, what's happening here? Tell me so the listeners can see.
We're not on the podcast anymore. So, I do find it interesting that we're not targeting the dinosaur just because it's so important to the Neoform players' plan here.
He has lethal, though.
Yeah, thanks to the trample. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, just thanks to going wide with the zombies. I hear...
There's a nourishing shoal. That's not good.
Does that say X equals 15?
That's a setback.
A minor setback. Going from dead to 19 life. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So now he's targeting.
Now we're doing it. Okay.
All right. Because you can't let him have more turns to get it into a Gristlebrand.
Mm-hmm.
And this board state is significant.
Sure. And let's be real, that Nourishing Shoal was poorly cast. It was a defensive Nourishing Shoal, right? You only really want to cast that once you have Gristlebrand. So
just to save your bacon for one more turn.
KO Diamonds is definitely on the back burner here. Look at that.
And the back foot. Don't put KO Diamonds on the back burner. They're right here with us. Okay, so sideboarding. So yeah, Aether Gust, P good against green spells.
Yeah, so whenever I play against Gristlebrand, I try to be the player that's got interaction. Ideally, counter spells are very good. But Aether Gust is nice here just because so many of the enabling cards in the Gristlebrand deck are green. So if all you care about is buying an extra turn against one of these drag race decks, Aether Gust gets that job done. Stan,
you're calling it Gristlebrand, but we're really looking at a Neoform deck, correct?
Yeah.
Are they? They're not. They're a little bit similar in the fact that they want a Gristlebrand.
That's true. I haven't seen that old school Gristlebrand deck in so long, Gristlebrand in so long, and they have enough similarities, I think, because of some of those similar cards between the two that I feel like at this point this is the de facto Gristlebrand deck. Why play Gristlebrand without Neoform?
Did you see Saint Doom looking at the Siege Rhino? Stan, we gotta talk. The fact that neither of these decks are companion decks. I think we'll have Siege Rhino be the honorary companion.
Right. I think that's a matter of perspective of, what is a companion? Is it a card that has the companion clause and ability? Sure. Yeah. Can it also be that one of Walking Ballista or Wormcoil engine in your sideboard? Why not?
I want Ramanap. Ramanap Excavator is going to be my honorary companion for Saint Doom because it's a cool Naga cleric.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
I have a question, Shane.
I'm all ears.
Let's say Reclamation Sage was a companion. Yeah. Same text plus the companion ability. You think that would see play?
Huh. What would its companion clause be?
None of the cards in your starting deck can be artifacts or enchantments.
That's really good. Okay, so
that's it.
This was a mulligan down to this hand. So he's got the Karn. The Karn's in your deck for a reason, right? You have 4 lands. You have a Sakura Tribe Scout and a Karn the Great Creator.
Yeah, it's pretty clunky. It has no manipulation except your Teleria West, but we don't have a way to do blue yet.
Yeah, that's rough. He's going to keep it though, just because it's a line to a turn 3 Karn, if not potentially sooner with like a bounce land or something like that. I think that would be a line to a earlier turn Karn.
So what's in the Karn package that might be good against Neoform? Right? Because we're not playing EE, probably not playing Ballista unless it's just your last spell you're casting for lethal.
Mm-hmm. It's the Neoform decks do run land light, so you could take them off their mana with liquid metal coating.
Yeah.
Never hurts.
Yeah, that seems like the best plan to me.
Beast Within, too, destroys a target permanent. I saw him sideboard into Beast Within. That's not part of the Karn package, but it's definitely a line of attack.
Right. Oh, we saw a snapshot of the news.
Oh, boy. It's not good, Stan.
Well, no news is good news. Oh.
I mean, Worm Coil also puts a nice clock down. So if you can't get Primeval Titan for some reason, you could get your Worm Coil engine, you can get your Walking Ballista, and at least present a clock. And if you're not presenting a clock against this deck, you are likely not winning unless you're also having heavy disruption, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Though I do feel like Worm Coil is a very slow win condition against Neoform. It's almost like swinging with a Tarmogoyf at that point.
I mean, it's a big Tarmogoyf.
That makes a couple of small Tarmogoyfs. I don't even know if Neoform can kill a Worm Coil.
Okay, so let's actually talk about this game, Stan. Probably.
They do have Slaughter Pact.
Mm-hmm. All right, so just some slow.
Attacking.
So we do have some Growth Chamber in the hand.
Yeah, that Growth Chamber is nice. Because now we can use that to bounce back to Teleria West and potentially find the Summoner's Pact.
Yeah. So he's looking. Okay, Saint Doom was looking at his sideboard. Okay, so he's going to put down the land, put down the Growth Chamber, enable him to untap and have access to. Oh, didn't put that. I thought he was highlighting the Growth Chamber. He's still going to have access to 4 mana to cast his Karn here.
Right, and it does look again like the Neoform player is just on one land. So early Liquid Metal coating here might be.
This is kind of what I was hoping for. This is what I would be hoping for. Is the Karn player is your opponent is an extremely land light deck. Try to get Liquid Metal coating online, take them off their mana. They don't really have too much of a chance.
Yeah, it's interesting. Neoform, such a fast deck and a high ceiling, but that margin of error is razor thin. And just a little bit of disruption or stumbling, on the number of lands that you have can be so punishing. Who knew that running 13 lands main deck could be a liability?
All right, so he puts the Field of the Dead in off of the Scout. Do you think he's just hoping to stick this coating here?
Yeah. I'm wondering whether Code Diamond scoops.
Well, they had no counterspell for the Liquid Metal coating.
Right. They do run sideboard Dissenter's Deliverance. So they could still destroy the coating, potentially.
Well, they have to have 2 mana.
For Deliverance? Oh, yeah. That's the cycling cost I was thinking about.
Yeah. So what do we got going on here? Just tapping the mana to get access to green. Saint Doom is hopeful, I think, that this Liquid Metal coating is just going to stymie the plans of KO Diamonds.
Yeah.
He's waiting.
Yeah.
He's waiting.
He doesn't look nervous compared to last game, where every time Saint Doom untapped, you could tell that he was holding his breath.
This is another crazy thing where Saint Doom basically had lands, a Secure Tribe Scout, and a Karn the Great Creator.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, KO Diamond's deck just didn't work for them. And now they have no lands. And Saint Doom has a resolved Karn the Great Creator, which I think usually works pretty well.
Yeah, I wonder whether a top deck Simian Spirit Guide could start getting the ball rolling, or even a top deck land. Oh, see, they do have Deliverance. There you go.
They cycled it off of the floating green.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, so if they had 1 more mana. Oh, I see. I missed it completely.
Right.
Took my eyes off the screen for 1 second.
They also had SSG for that second mana to cast the Deliverance.
But they're already so behind just due to that happening just once, right? Like, so we have a Karn the Great Creator, we have a bunch of lands. That gets all sorts of interesting pieces from the side. It gets creatures that can end the game really quickly. And if you're using your SSG and a floating mana to take your opponent off of a Liquid Metal coating, then you're not in the best of shape, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, what are we getting with Karn? Is this the point where we actually just get the worm coil engine and present a threat?
Quite possibly, or with a mana available, you could also say a walking ballista. But walking ballista is probably better if there's a board on the other side. With what we're presenting here, likely to just grab the worm coil engine for the. I mean, still like 4-turn clock. It's not exactly where you want to be. Well, we have the zombies now, so it's going to be much quicker.
Right. We can also, I think, use one of these growth chambers to bounce back a Teleria West and transmute it. But
what's good about Worm Coil Engine 2 is let's say KO Diamonds had a large amount of artifact hate that they brought in. Even it's protecting itself against artifact hate just because of the redundant bodies of the tokens.
Here we go. So now I'm assuming St. Doom is going to bring in that last growth chamber. Here we go. So that we can transmute Teleria West, find a Summoner's Pact, play Primeval Titan, run away with the game. How many cards does Code Diamonds have in hand? Is that a 6?
2 frustrating games, I imagine, with 5 cards in hand last game, and being forced to play a Nourishing Shoal just to protect their life total. 6 cards now.
Wow, goodbye, Karn.
Yeah. What you have to ask yourself here is, how can I lose? And I think the answer is, I can't.
Oh, this is cool. That's a big ballista.
So what I liked about these 2 games, so Summoner's Pact, okay. Because can anything possibly happen here? Okay, we got the worm.
We might have another defensive Nourishing Shoal, is what we might have.
No,
but
I think
St. Doom is being clever, and they're waiting for Code Diamonds to put their guard down. But it's over. We're having fun now.
Yeah, it's just for fun.
Listen, you don't want to scoop when you're in the Modern Streamers League, right? This isn't a MTGO league where it's just like, get me out of here.
What I liked about those 2 games, Stan, for St. Doom's deck is it showed the power of Primeval Titan, and it showed the power of Karn the Great Creator.
Michael, you changed.
I did. Put my hat on.
How you feeling about that match?
Hey, congrats, by the way.
I missed game 1. I should have grabbed Karn into Grafdigger's Cage, and game 2, I was too busy thinking about. I miscounted. I thought I had one more mana than I did, so I could have played a Primetime a turn sooner. I could have played Primetime instead of the Worm Coil, but I miscounted by 1 mana, and I was just got greedy with putting zombies on the clock. I don't think either one really mattered. The first one could have been bigger if he found the one, if he found the Neoform game 1. But yeah, I'm very happy to win a terrible matchup, and I'm even happier to beat KO Diamonds. So
yeah. How did you feel when you used that liquid metal coating on their 1 land? At that point, did you just feel like you had won the game?
Oh, so Karn is a drug, because the reason to play Shane's nodding. He knows when you liquid metal coating someone out of a game, it's so great. It's just I love Karn the Great Creator decks because it's, especially with Amulet Titan, and Druid Karn was good too, because you want to bring in Damping Sphere, you want to bring in Blood Moon, you want to attack my mana base. I only need 4 mana to play Karn anyway. It's just I get to play so many different avenues. It's I'm gonna be. I've out Ponza decks before. They'll have one forest with like 4 Utopia Sprawls on it, and I'll just liquid metal coating it and say, "Hey, I'm the Ponza deck now. Look at me, I'm the Ponza deck now."
Yeah, liquid metal is definitely a flexible, awesome card to have access to for sure.
Yeah. I've never cast one.
No.
Well, you're missing out.
It's been cast against me, but
Stanislav, not even in our Red Prison episode, never did a liquid metal coating. I feel like you would have had to.
I don't remember. Was I even on that episode?
Well, in my memory, you were.
Too many episodes. Too much content, really.
Oh, so much
Liquid Metal
content.
Coating is such an underappreciated Karn card because you look at it and you're like, oh, it destroys lands. That's cute. But no, it also, you can basically the extra Pithing Needle effect. You can Pithing Needle like
Oh, yeah.
Liliana of the Veil. Not that that's relevant anymore, but you can Pithing Needle different effects on someone's upkeep if that effect is sorcery speed. In fact, you can even use it against like a Grizzlebrand. You can target them so they can't combo off. Because if they're in the middle of trying to combo, they have to combo in response to that coding target, and then they can't get that last trigger usually to win the game. Lots of little play with Liquid Metal Coating is one of those cards when you're like, oh, it looks okay, and then you start playing with it and you're like, oh no, I want it every single time.
Oh yeah, it never leaves the wish board. It's so cheap and so flexible in what it can do for you.
I like it a lot. So the next match we have up is Shane's friend Dylan Hand and against Garrett Martin. So you played against Dylan, right? Right, Shane?
Oh, Dylan and I, we've only played like once or twice on Magic Online. Stan's just referring to we had like just a single funny interaction on Twitter once, and we're not actually close friends. But I respect Dylan as a player, and he's definitely awesome on Twitter.
Yeah, they're not close friends, nor are they enemies. Just totally agnostic acquaintances.
Like me and most Magic players, honestly, Stanislav.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to see this Garrett Martin Zerda deck, only because I played a little bit of Zerda combo Elves when that deck first broke, like in week 1 of, Companion Modern. And this one's interesting to me just because it doesn't have the mantle, right? Nope. So it's just doing like traditional Spike Feeder, Heliod combo stuff, and just trying to do it a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Heliod Walking Ballista is very good in Pioneer, but it's still pretty good in Modern. So,
yeah. I also like that Garrett's deck has a one of Fiend Artisan, which is a card that we're seeing like pull its weight in Pioneer a little bit. I haven't seen it really do much work in Modern yet, and I'm curious to see how effective it can be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. It's basically the birthing pod creature. For
right.
those unaware. Oh, before I forget.
Whoa, praying mantises.
This is
mantises?
Praying mantid, I was told. These are my wife's one of her many. That's kind of blurry. Maybe there we go. There should be. This is my wife's one of her farms. She's got 2 going right now. 500 praying mantid are going to come on this little ball here. She started telling me some really cool praying mantis facts, and I couldn't remember them all. So instead, I'm going to give you fake praying mantis facts. Fake praying mantis fact number 1: praying mantises never die; they only disappear for a little bit. Fake praying mantis fact number 2: they never stop growing. Somewhere out there is a 100-foot-long praying mantis. You better stay out of that one's way.
Wow. We should get it on MSL.
Yeah. We'll have to find it. Maybe it's like the Loch Ness Monster. Maybe it's just like thing, it's cool. Maybe it's a swimmer now.
They're excellent keyboardists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And a very valuable bug in Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to walk slowly with your net to catch it sometimes because they are quick on their feet and wings. They flutter off.
Yeah. I haven't played too much Animal Crossing, but I've seen that other people are enjoying it. That's all
that matters.
We will have more fake praying mantis facts for you but coming up in the show. But next up, we have Garrett Martin against Dylan Hand after a quick break. We'll be back in a minute.
All
Hello,
right.
we're back.
We are back. So I'm curious, Dan. Let's first, for all of the players who are seeing Magic for the first time, what does Zerta the Dawnwaker do, and what is a companion?
Yeah, so a companion is a free card that you get to put in your hand at the beginning of every game, but
Okay.
really it lives in your sideboard. And essentially it's this class of creatures, just came out, the newest set, Ikoria Lair of the Behemoths, big monster set in the world of Godzilla.
I was hoping you'd do this faster, Stan.
Yeah, they're fun cards. They have this clause where you have to build your deck a certain way, but if you do, you get to have this card sitting in your sideboard that you can play once per game. And
So
they've
yeah.
been pretty good, Shane, I gotta say.
I think they're okay.
People like them. They make
So
decks
hold on,
better.
we've got two companions. We've got Zerta. So Zerta makes you have to have an activated ability on every permanent card in your starting deck, and then it reduces the cost of those abilities that are not mana abilities by 2 generic mana.
Yeah.
So that makes effects like Heliod's effect, or also what like Walking Ballista's effect, but to put a counter on it, it reduces the cost on a number of handy things in the
same
deck.
with-
Eldrazi Displacer,
Yep.
Duskwatch Recruiter.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the same deck at the same time, because every time I'm about to say a card, you read it.
Yeah. I mean, but we have Dylan Hand on camera, and Dylan is playing a Yorion Sky Nomad deck, and that makes you have to have at least 80 cards in your starting deck. That's a lot. That's a lot of cards.
Yeah, Dylan off a Multi 4 here. Pretty slow
Brutal.
start for a control deck, although that Metallic Rebuke is already online. So it's a nice way to have a little early play against what might be like a turn 2 Heliod here.
Yeah, fast combo. So we got the Spike Feeder, it looks like, on the stack.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that Spike Feeder.
You gotta.
I am loving the Urion Bobble deck, because those don't usually go together. I suppose it's different when you have Urza. Then you definitely want Bobble.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is more or less an expansion of the Teamer Urza deck. We're able to fit in more things like Renin 6. We have a full suite of Cryptics and Metallic Rebukes. And the value of Yorion is that when it ETBs, it can just blink all your stuff, which does a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Especially for Urza.
Yeah, Dylan's also padding his library a little bit with some meta cards. We've got a single Soul Guide Lantern. We've got Scrabbling Claws. Ways to potentially deal with opposing Luris decks, interact with the graveyard a little bit in game 1, while also with the upside of drawing you cards.
All right, so on the other side, we have Garrett getting a Ranger Captain of Eos down.
Did we see what he fetched with that Ranger Captain?
I did not. I missed it. Too easy looking at deck list, Dan. Okay, we've got the Soul Guide Lantern, which can also effectively cycle some cards for you, correct? Yeah, you can pay 1, sacrifice it, draw a card off it if you so need. So, pretty slow clock here with this Ranger Captain. They have 6 cards in hand. I'm curious what they're hoping to get down. So there's our Giver of Runes.
Yeah, I am liking this Ranger Captain also because of its extra ability as a nice way to just like steal, potentially a counterspell out of the opponent's hand.
Dylan again chooses to rebuke the Spike Feeder. You pretty much have to because of the combo enabling piece on the battlefield.
All right, so Mystic Sanctuary is online now, though.
Mm-hmm.
And that Soul Guide Lantern can allow you to draw whatever you get with that Mystic Sanctuary a bit faster.
That's a good point. Good combo.
Though it doesn't look like you can Sanctuary... Oh, no, you can Sanctuary and Metallic Rebuke in the same turn. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got an on-demand counterspell, it looks like.
Garrett choosing to keep the Giver of Runes back from combat to protect other plays.
Metallic Rebuke is a funny choice against an infinite mana deck. I'm sure it's great turn 1 and 2.
All right, cycling into a Metallic Rebuke. Wow.
Wow.
That's appeal.
You can't write that stuff. I do find it interesting.
Oh, hold on. They Mystic Sanctuary for the Metallic Rebuke. That's why they peeled it. I think it's a combo, Stan.
Yeah. Who called it? I do find it interesting that Garrett still isn't cracking that Ranger Captain to shut off Dylan from his interaction.
Well, it's his only clock right now, but now they have a Duskwatch Recruiter online, and they can also get Zerta when they choose to from the Companion Zone and begin using Duskwatch Recruiter for a single green mana.
Yeah.
While protecting it with the Giver. So sticking a Walking Ballista.
Yeah, I do like that Urion here, especially... Oh, it's over. Dylan saw the writing on the wall.
A GG.
Yeah, Urion plus Urza is interesting. Get extra Karn tokens.
Oh, yeah. The Karn structs are huge. I mean, frequently.
Pretty big. You know, they count themselves.
That's not fair.
They're always at least a 1/1.
So, unfortunately, Dylan had a multifour. Didn't see a lot of what he was trying to see. Sort of was living off of the Metallic Rebukes, but that can only do so much for so long.
Yeah, the sideboard that Dylan has access to with the 4 Galvanic Blasts is going to be helpful.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Potentially Aether Gust. I'm curious if Dylan is going to choose to bring in Aether Gust simply because all of the green that you're going to see on the other side. But maybe he doesn't think the mass of green is enough to warrant it.
I think this just might be a case of it being a little awkward in, you know.
Oh. Contemplating.
Yeah.
Dylan, you're gonna make me look smart? You make me look not so smart? I don't know. It's really easy for me to look not so smart, Stanislav.
Yeah. I mean, the point I was trying to make, the Aether Gust makes it a little awkward once you have the Duskwatch Recruiter out there. Just because, sure, you might potentially slow me down in some games, but other games, I'm going to have the infinite mana to just trigger the Duskwatch Recruiter and find that card all over again.
It's typically just going to be a good tempo play. So what's the game plan here for Dylan post sideboard, do you think, Stan? Is it basically much of the same, but with more interaction with your Galvanic Blasts?
Yeah, Dylan seems to be going on more of a removal-based plan, and that's so important here.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the Ren and 6 is kind of curious, just because, you know, Ren and 6 can tag a Bird of Paradise, you know, even the Noble Hierarch.
All those, especially on the play. I'm 100% certain Dylan knows what he's doing with his deck more than I do. So there's probably a good reason for him to shave 2 of the Ren and 6s. But yeah, it does seem useful to be able to hit the birds, hit the Noble Hierarch, hit the Fiend Artisan if it's played on turn 2 for no value, which seems questionable.
Yeah, well, you know how much we love a card to
Dylan's still sideboarding.
Eat a removal spell.
Yeah, Dylan was very thoughtful about that sideboard plan.
What do we call those, Shane? A card meant to eat a removal spell?
Bait?
Yeah, that's the one. There's a word we use on the podcast all the time, and it's escaping me right now.
Lightning Rod?
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one you use.
Yeah.
All right, so Dylan's hand definitely better than last time. A lot of some ramp, going to make
snap keep
a number of artifacts from the Gilded Goose and the Arcan's Astrolabe.
Yeah.
Has interaction in Metallic Rebuke, has something to do with Uro there, because Uro's an okay card.
Right. And this is a great Urion hand as well, just because it's got multiple ETB effects. Wow, we got another Gilded Goose.
Stan, do you think he's going to sacrifice the food for life right now? Do you think that's probably the play?
I don't think Dylan is
can't
hungry
knife.
yet.
I don't know. It seems like a value play. Draws into some more nice ETB effects with Ice Fang Coatl.
Mm-hmm.
The main problem here is, so the thing that he wants to be able to do is keep up Metallic Rebuke to stop any quick combo action. So he's able to do that right now, which is super great. And then hopefully get a clock down with Uro and hopefully something like an Urza, right? To then be able to keep the opponent off of the combo while still doing something valuable. Okay, so uses the Metallic Rebuke to take care of that Ranger that could tutor up something like a Walking Ballista or a Giver of Runes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to answer the Ranger Captain just because it's your redundant spell in a deck like this. It doesn't look like, with the exception of Collected Company, Garrett doesn't really have strong tools to fetch anything up, so being able to tag that Ranger Captain could really set him back.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if Garrett, I don't think is hitting their third land yet, but they do have mana ramp in the form of Birds and the Noble right now, and they do have an exposed Fiend Artisan. So
yeah,
let's see if that can do some work. We know that Dylan has Graveyard Interaction. Just flooding the board with mana dorks, mana geese.
Yeah, this does look like a pretty slow hand right now, though. This does also look like a killer Yorion board state, like I said.
Yeah.
Draws at least 2 cards just off of the Coatl and the Astrolabe. Potentially produces a lot of mana down the line.
Ooh,
thanks to Gilded
triple
Goose.
Uro.
Yeah, and no lands.
Yeah, this is brutal.
Yeah, Dylan's struggling to find a land, making those Uro look pretty bad.
Yeah, right now he only has 1 piece of food for these goose to eat and turn into other mana.
Oh, and that's Coatl doesn't have Death Touch yet.
No, it's not. Right now, unfortunately for Dylan, Garrett is getting the time he needs to set up board states like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like at this point Garrett has the advantage bar.
So Dylan forced to make a food there at end of turn, able to untap, and definitely has access to a lot more mana now. So he can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can make 6 mana, I believe, with the Birds of Paradise and the food.
Yeah. Let's see if we get Yorion yet. I feel like now is the time for Yorion.
Just to like get a bunch of food on the battlefield, draw a few cards into kind of your more important threats, perhaps.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, all that
and
food.
You get a Sarah Angel.
Exactly. Now you have a blocker, so that Fiend Artisan stops pressuring you. Shane, what else are you gonna do?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I think. Let's see. Eating the food. Yeah, I think it's going for the Yorion play here. Yeah. Oh, now he exposes the companion zone. See, for me, Stan, I have to have it floating and like down near my cards, or else I forget I have the companion.
Yeah, that was definitely a problem for me for a while. I've now gotten used to it, fortunately. But there's those first couple weeks of the format, there are a lot of games I lost because I forgot that I had an extra card in my hand.
So unfortunately,
wow, great draw here on the engineered explosives.
Oh yeah. One of the issues that Dylan is facing is a Scavenging Ooze on the other side, because the Uro is going to have a hard time with that. But what do you think? So what's he going for here? I mean, the EE Right now, the mana dorks aren't doing too much. Do you think you put the EE on 2 just to clear out? Well, now you have the Zerta.
Yeah, I would think would have to be on 2 just because it's so good against a lot of the combo pieces, including the Squatch Recruiter, even that Fiend Artisan that keeps chipping away at him.
Well, Fiend Artisan now can serve its birthing pod role to sacrifice creatures, peel up necessary combo pieces. I can't see what's on the stack right now. Another Ranger Captain.
Yeah, another Ranger Captain is at the board.
Makes Heliod live as a creature. Certainly doesn't stink.
Yeah, maybe EE on 3 even.
Yeah, unfortunately it won't clear the Heliod, but it does get rid of the singleton Zerta in the 75.
Yeah, this is an interesting deck just because EE on 3 is so much more effective than EE against something like traditional Devoted Druid.
Certainly. Just because you have the higher CMC cards like Heliod, well, like doesn't it doesn't hit Heliod, but you hit your Ranger Captain, hits your Spike Feeder, hits your Eldrazi Displacer.
Right. And gets that Zerta out of the way, which at this point, even though Garrett is still ahead with or without the Zerta, I do think you don't want that. Dylan does not want that Zerta to stick around and make comboing off so much cheaper.
So what do you think the various game plans here are? Like, do you think that he's doing the attack with Heliod simply because it's free? Like, because he just forces a chump block with a mana dork, potentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Dylan still has the ability to, I think, can still try to fly over with Yorion, correct? And just sort of chump block on the swing back, but I don't know if that's really going to get the job done. See, what's good for Dylan here is the Scavenging Ooze is gone.
That's true.
Does that give him a window opportunity to try to get some Uros happening, or?
So I think we're about to see Uro in the main phase, just because we can now put an extra land on the board, draw some life, and gain some life and draw a card. Though I'm not sure if we're going to see Uro actually hit the board and stick around. Just because I would not be surprised if Garrett is sandbagging another way to interact with the graveyard at this point.
I think Dylan's considering, I think what we're talking about, like, do I want to EE on 2 for the Fiend Artisan or go for 3? Or is he just, what, zeros it? Oh, zeros it.
Right. So Dylan's worried about Ballista now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's an interesting play just because interacting with Ballista, such a challenge to begin with. Essentially would force Garrett's hand to cash it in immediately rather than starting to accrue a bunch of value with it, with all of the mana dorks they have lying around.
So Dylan's hope here, I imagine, is to avoid the combo win with Ballista. He has the EE for some insurance against that, and just win in the air with Sarah Angel.
Yeah. We're holding the Coatl back now just because it does have Death Touch.
You know what doesn't die to that, though? Heliod.
Ooh, you're right. What if it had Exile Touch? Would that work?
I think so. Is that a mechanic?
Print it. Put it in the companion zone.
Let's get Mark on the line. You have to be creative. Innovation.
Oh, we found another Metallic Rebuke. That looks good. Unless Garrett decides to sacrifice their Ranger Captain. Though, honestly, at this point, the way I see it, they're never going to sacrifice Ranger Captain unless they actually have the combo kill in hand.
Stan, my face is in the way of this card that just got played. Help.
Acoustic Caterpillar is the card on the board. That's the 1-drop with, it's a single green mana. You can pay 1 and a green, sack it to destroy target artifact or enchantment.
A very powerful and popular card from Magic Origins.
I don't know. I was even looking at this for Ponza as a way to have some nice odd CMC interaction in your sideboard.
Sam, what do you think the
get
foil
it for some
costs?
extra damage? of Caustic Caterpillar.
Yeah, what do you think the foil costs?
$20.
Oh, this is from Magic Origins, my friend.
So 30?
I think it's like 5. That's still crazy to me.
The foil multiplier is only 1.25, Shane. Oh wait, I'm looking at online prices.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
You know what it is? It's a beautiful foil, Shane.
Oh, it's for the collector. Oh, you know it's a MP. The MP is 528. The near mint 13. Good luck getting your hands on that.
Wow.
Time to go crack some Magic Origins boxes. All right, Dylan plays the Uro.
Why not? Draw some cards, get that extra Mystic Sanctuary on the board. I'm struggling to see Dylan's graveyard if there's anything he can even grab with that Sanctuary. Is there a mystical dispute in there?
I don't think so, no.
Oh yeah, so we're holding back the mystical dispute. There's no instance of sorceries there now.
Yeah, then they can rebuke Sanctuary, rebuke shenanigans. Unfortunately, not using the cycling ability of the Lantern like they did last game yet.
Yeah, I gotta say that Fiend Artisan looking pretty scary right now.
What's the power toughness, Stan? I actually can't see the numbers right now.
It's a 2/2.
Oh, well.
Or I'm sorry, it's a 1/1. It's a 1/1, but it gets 1/1 +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing 4.
So unfortunately, Dylan's attacks are being stymied now by the Bird of Paradise in the air that can be given protection from Giver of Runes.
Yeah, I think that Fiend Artisan is a 4/4.
So Dylan gets a Cryptic here. The Caustic Caterpillar gets popped to take out the Engineered Explosives. Sacrifices the Ranger Captain for the Silence effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talked about last game. Just going for it to turn off all interaction. There's the Ballista. Concede.
Yeah.
Concede.
Yeah, I think Dylan was really counting on that Metallic Rebuke in that game, or in that turn even.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan knows that he couldn't necessarily have relied on it simply because the Ranger Captain was live. So, yeah, I mean, Dylan had a small window there, I think, but the mana issues early on allowed the board to develop really well on the side of Garrett, and he turned that into a victory.
Yeah, also having multiple Ranger Captains to slow down counterplay, really helpful there in that matchup.
Absolutely. Last night's theme on the show was mana matters because every single one of the losing decks faced some sort of mana inconsistency, which kind of leads to how important having a good mana base, a consistent mana base, is in Modern. Not saying Dylan's mana base wasn't consistent, but it definitely didn't show consistently tonight. He definitely faced a little bit of that variance with a Multi 4. And then he was stuck at like 3 for a little bit, game 1, off of that Multi 4. And then game 2, he just kept drawing Euros instead of lands, which,
Yeah.
That
it's like
happens.
the wrong half of a 2-card combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Yurion play looked all right as just a way to like get to your deck a little bit, maybe produce some extra mana down the road using food tokens, but Dylan never really could turn the corner. It really felt like he was on his back foot that entire game.
Sometimes Modern just feels like that. You know what I mean? Like the one player develops advantage in some fashion and just is able to pressure that the entire match, or the entire game rather.
Absolutely. Modern is definitely still at its heart a tempo-based format. I think Magic in general is, and Garrett capitalized on that tempo all match.
Yeah, it was well played. I think Garrett used his creatures and sequenced things really well, used the different abilities on the creatures as they needed to be. The Caustic Caterpillar certainly helped in terms of that, opened up the window to allow the Walking Ballista play.
Yeah. I don't think we saw Zerda do anything crazy in that game. Maybe just turning reducing the cost of what was it, Heliod a couple times. But honestly, that Zerta just kind of looked like a decent body by itself. We didn't see it, as far as I can remember, use the ability to make a creature unblockable.
I
So-
always forget it has that ability.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why does it have that one more abilities tapped on?
Why not? You have to figure out a way to make these
Yeah.
companions worth playing. Because
Apparently,
as written,
starting free isn't. I mean, humans adopted Gigantha just because it's
Yeah.
a free 8th card in your starting hand.
I have still not cast a single Gigantha as a humans player in like 7 matches with it though.
Wait, it's
But
a
you
hard
could.
J? I thought it was Yagantha.
So
No, Stan, don't
Uh,
open this window for him to shout through.
the opening night of the MSL, I was pronouncing Urian, and Drake and Francisco were like, "What are you saying?" I was like, Urian. They're like, "Yeah, that's right." I was like, "No, it's Urian, like Urian's belt," and no one else liked it.
Didn't
I
go.
love
Didn't go.
It didn't.
I love it.
It didn't work very well.
I'm still pretty sure it's Yagantha. That sounds more magical to me.
It's Ugantha to you. The card Garuk Wild Speaker. I was
Yeah.
pronouncing it Garrick for like the
Yeah, me too.
longest time.
It's in my brain. It's Garrick.
Yeah. And
Yagantha
then
be kidding me.
I heard a promo and it was like Garuk. I was like, what is this? There's a new green planeswalker, Garuk. So pronunciations are hard. I wish they showed like how the vowel is supposed to go.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah, Marshall gets a pronunciation guide on the broadcast team. Why don't we? We're professional podcasters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not-
and
we're
we
not
are
at that level
sponsored.
yet.
We're sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder. So I'll see if I
Yeah,
can
good
get
pulls.
that pronunciation guy. The next
Yeah,
match we have up is K-Ponce against Yama Killer. That'll be
Oh,
our
man.
match number 3. We're at the halfway point tonight. I am Mike Goldenberg, St. Doom, and I am joined by Shane Beeps and Stanislav from the Dive Down podcast. Where can we find you guys?
Stan,
The
do
divedown.com.
the promo. Yeah, divedown.com. TheDivedown.com.
We bought the URL, so
I think
that's
it still
official.
works.
Yeah, you can find us honestly anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, whether it's iTunes, whether it's YouTube. I guess the only place we're not on is SoundCloud.
It's too challenging.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah,
to
we
get
don't
on.
rap. I feel like SoundCloud is for rap music and electronic music, and we're just talking about Magic the Gathering. Didn't seem like a great fit for us, but there's
Yeah.
some really great Magic podcasts on SoundCloud, so no shade from me. You can even find us on Twitter.com at the Dive Down.
At the Dive Down.
The Dive Down, one word.
The Dive Down, one word, all one word.
One word.
Wait, what about the
All one
uppercase? Are there uppercase or lowercase?
Does that matter?
No.
Does that matter in a URL?
So it's in an order that may surprise you. The H is capital.
Mhm. Okay.
The E in dive.
It's lead speak.
Also, the O in dive down is a 0.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's like you expect. Yeah, you can find us Twitter, on Apple Podcasts, all the usual places. We post on Reddit every week in whatever subreddit makes the most sense. If it's about Pioneer, we'll post in Pioneer. If it's about Modern. If it's universally appealing, we'll post it in every subreddit we can until we get banned.
Yeah.
There you go.
And people don't realize this, but dive down is a magic card.
Yes.
That's it.
They don't realize that?
I just wanted to clarify that dive down.
It
Not
costs
an
a single
arbitrary name.
blue for an instant, give a creature hexproof and +0/+3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Very playable.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad tempo card. I was using it in my arena deck back to protect my Niv Mizzet.
Huh. Which version of Niv Mizzet?
The newer one, the one that draws cards.
Reborn?
Yeah, whichever
Several
one
of
was
them
just
draw cards.
not the 5-color one, the red, blue one.
See, this is why I asked, because
Yeah.
there's multiple Niv Mizzets.
Yeah, there's like
Perun?
3 of them now, right?
I believe there's technically 4. There's like Draco Genius, there's the one that pings, the one that draws, the one that does both, and Reborn. And that's the kind of content you get on the Dive Down.
Absolutely, and it is wonderful. But we will be back in just a moment with more Dive Down commentating again with K-Ponce against Yamakiller.
That's the killer. Okay, we've got K-Ponce on camera. So this, what's funny is these two guys I know that they're streamer buddies because I met both of them. I was fortunate enough to meet both of them in at Phoenix this year, GP Phoenix, the first U.S. Pioneer GP and one of the few the GPs we got to have this year. And thankfully I was there. It's fun to meet Yamakiller face to face and meet K-Ponce for the first time. Really good guys. And I think they both played really well in the tournament. They both day 2'd, I believe, as did our friend Aspiring Spike.
Yeah, did you mention that we've had Yamakiller on the Dive Down?
Yeah, Yamakiller was our first guest, actually.
Yeah, after he got second place with Heart and Scales in GP Los Angeles.
Yeah, we thought we would have him on to teach us and teach the audience kind of Heart and Scales worked.
That was a very memorable GP. It was Heart and Scales versus Is It Phoenix in the finals.
Remember that deck?
Yeah. I remember it. I also miss it.
Eldrazi and Taxes. Our co-host Dave would be very interested in watching this deck play out. He has been into these Taxes style decks in the past. What's interesting is that this does not run a companion. So he must just think it's fun to play or has a power level that he's interested in exploiting.
So K-Ponce has Wasteland Strangler in their opening hand. They can cast it. They can cast it as early as turn 2, thanks to Eldrazi Temple and Concealed Courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
Does Wasteland Strangler interact with the Companion Zone?
Well, it's from it's a card from Exile, so I don't believe those are in the Exile.
Yeah, it's just outside the game.
All right, so
Exile.
Gall Yamakiller gets down the turn 1 Heart and Scales. He did mull. It looks like down to like 4 cards because he had the draw, I believe. No, he was on the draw. So pretty bad mull for him, but he's quickly online with a fast Hangerback Walker. Unfortunately, just eats a path to Exile. Doesn't even make the tokens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure K-Ponce is happy to see that because now when they Wasteland Strangler the Hangerback Walker, they could probably also pick off another creature that gets played, potentially, with a -3/-3 ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen Wasteland Strangler get cast in Modern, and I am loving this.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Don't sue me, McDonald's.
Right, being able to repeat that ability with the Flecker Wisp as well seems quite good against Hardened Scales. Especially if Hardened Scales doesn't find Ozolith.
The Ozolith. Right.
Which, and Yamakiller is running 2 of them.
You can only have one on the battlefield, though, Stan.
That's true.
The Ozolith. All right, we got a quick Arcbound Ravager with a servo off the animation module. I'm sure K-Ponce is very happy to be able to Wasteland Strangler that off the board. Unfortunately, it can Well, hold on. Can Arcbound actually survive by sacking the servo and the module? Yes. So he can't kill the Archon Ravager, unfortunately. Exactly. You only have to sack one actually. So that's even better. So that servo for free allows it to dodge the Wasteland Strangler. I'm sure Yama Killer was thankful for that. He knows the type of interaction that K-Ponce is playing. So what's K-Ponce considering here, do you think, Stan, for a deck that you've never played?
I think I played a little bit of Taxes a couple times back in the day.
I'm setting you up for success here.
Thank you. I mean, I think K-Ponce is just wondering whether or not it's worth narrowing the board a little bit. Although we're leading with Flicker Wisp.
He's going to choose to flicker this. I mean, Archon can just eat the servo. I guess he's just forcing the issue.
Yeah.
Because the servo was flying, correct? Or is the servo on the ground? The Thopters are flying.
Correct, yeah.
So I guess, right now, unfortunately for him, the Archon Ravager is definitely a better clock than a Flicker Wisp.
Yeah, could K-Ponce have led with the Strangler and then untap to cast Flicker Wisp, flicker that Strangler? Well, it doesn't matter because of
main deck Spellskite.
Because of the Spellskite.
So what's interesting here is Yama still can't get any.
Wow, it's over.
Just straight to the concede. Knows it's over. Knows that Yama Killer had just developed enough of a board, and the advantage was going to be too strong. That was on a Multu 4, I believe, or perhaps 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm kind of happy to see Yama playing Hardened Scales again, since this was the deck that put him on our radar, like we mentioned, I think most people last year.
He was, like we talked to him, he was definitely a player who was kind of up and coming, getting going with streaming, getting going with playing more tournaments, and established himself early as a Hardened Scales expert. He was winning a lot on Magic Online with it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at this hand. Unfortunately, no lands. I think that's a mull. So I thought we had 2 Eldrazi Temples into the Thought Knots here, but this is probably good enough with like the Tide Hollow Sculler and the Path early, and then you get your turn 3 TKS.
Yeah, plus you have that Path. I think this is definitely a pretty keepable hand. Ghost Quarter seems a little weak against Hardened Scales. They do have Nurturing Peatland, but
yeah, you just run 4 in this deck, so you're going to see it.
I take that back. Yama Killer is running Inkmoth Nexus, so suddenly Ghost Quarter seems amazing to me.
This is a much better start for Yama. Just keep 7, Forest into Hardened Scales, already a good start. Unfortunately for K-Ponce, he doesn't have any enchantment interaction yet. I'm curious. Oh boy. K-Ponce's eyes are wide right now. Poop-a-doop. We got a 3/3 Arcbound worker.
Well, we found a Path target.
So that helps.
And this turn 3 Thought Knot Seer could be quite strong.
Let's see what happens. Into the Strangler, potentially giving you some more options because you're still exiling cards. Oh.
Nature's Claim, Animation Module, Hangerback, and Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah, you kind of have to. There's no artifact or enchantment. Yeah, so just go straight for the creature, I imagine.
Right.
What's really good about Taxes is that it turns off the benefits of Luris. So you're exiling with TKS, you're exiling with Path, you're able to clear creatures that are small enough with Wasteland Strangler. With a couple of Hardened Scales, unfortunately, most of them are going to be either going to outgrow Strangler's ETB, right?
Yeah, we definitely saw that in game 1. An early Strangler, depending on the timing, could be quite good. But, against this Walking Ballista,
wow.
It looks
so, yeah, he just opened himself up to the Wasteland Strangler, I believe. He kind of had to play it, but now it's going to get eaten.
Yeah.
In response, he removes the Strangler, but the damage has been done. A lot of value here. The Strangler. You got a cat with you?
I heard it.
My cats are being good. Okay, so unfortunately, now the graveyard has things in it, and we get to see how much work Luris can do for Yama.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh no, is he looking at the exile zone or the graveyard? I'm having a hard time.
So he's looking at the revealed.
No, on the left. On the left. Yeah, it's a graveyard. So Yama's going to be able to start getting something with Luris as soon as he finds a second black mana. But he's kind of stuck on that right now. I've run into that issue myself in like a Boros Burn strategy using Luris, is just finding that second off-color mana can be challenging. Yama has to stretch into Golgari mana in order to be able to cast the Luris, but it's stuck right now. Takes the Nature's Claim, has a clock. Yama is stuck on an Inkmoth Nexus, digging for a black mana or a creature that he can cast from hand. Takes, just scooping for in a fun way. I think.
I think you're correct. At this point, we're just digging for cards. We no longer have mana up for the Arbiter attacks.
I mean, he has outs, but he was kind of forced to do that. That's a huge servo. So K-Ponce is like, goodness me. Goodness, that's a big servo.
What's the biggest servo you've ever seen, Shane?
It might be that one.
Nice.
Oh, just peeling lands. Nobody wants to see, really.
Not ideal. Servo's a 4/4. So could potentially get Yama down to, 2 life?
So he's going to take Yama. I think he was contemplating taking Yama off of the Inkmoth with no mana to pay for Arbiter.
I think you just have to at this point.
What's interesting is Yama cycled away his peatland, so doesn't look like he's really hoping to get Luris down and get value off of the Luris.
Yeah. Yeah, considering that Yama doesn't have that Luris mana, I feel like in this situation I would have just attacked, since Yama would have to block the Thought-Knot Seer.
There we go. Getting a board going.
Yeah, that turned around. Look at that advantage. Just flip over.
It's the advantage bar is now pointed a little bit towards Yama, I think. K-Ponce unfortunately flooding here for him. I'm sure Yama's happy with it.
So, truth be told, considering that he drew another creature, I don't think that K-Ponce actually had the win there. Yeah. But I still feel like not attacking was a bit of a mistake. There was no reason to hold up Arbiter or blockers at that point, especially because Yama's life total is so low, and there is no chance of casting the Luris on the snapback.
Mimic, choosing servo. It's going to allow these servos that come out of these animation modules to be very big indeed off of the hardened scales and the mimic. I mean, Yama feels safe enough to be attacking right now, so that's telling you something.
Well, Shane, you have to be bold, and fortune favors the bold.
I mean, well, just like that. I mean, he can sacrifice a single animation module, put his Arcbound Ravager up to a 6/6, make a servo. Looking pretty good. That's okay.
Wow.
K-Ponce just maybe K-Ponce didn't want to block. Maybe he wanted to force the issue. Maybe he didn't see the math. Maybe he knew he just didn't want to play anymore.
It's a lot of 2-0s tonight.
Yeah.
That's the third 2-0 in a row, right?
Started it over my good buddy KO Diamonds, Kevin Wang.
I have to say I'm a little bit surprised to see Eldrazi and Texas not put up a little bit more of a fight. I thought that Capon's had the tools that he would need. I think he flooded out in game 2 there, which is never what you want to have happen. And just allowed Yamada to get a little toehold and turn the corner.
It kind of makes me wonder whether or not it's one of those decks that's just going to start getting pushed out a little bit more because it can't run a companion. And, we're seeing these decks emerge like Titan or even like Tron, certain Tron variants, where it makes sense that those decks would still be good even without a companion because they have access like Chalice of the Void or, Green Tron's inevitability, especially going over the top of so much of the mid-range that's popular right now. But does Taxes have enough reason to be viable without a companion? You sort of have to have a reason to not play a companion deck at this point, I think, in Modern, and I'm not sure if we're seeing that from Taxes in this moment.
My stance on companions is right now, if you're a deck that's built around value, or you need additional value like a Jund deck or a Burn deck or something like that, you need a companion to help you with that. So you need to be a companion value to generate value from your companion. You need to be a deck that generates value on its own, like Amulet Titan. I think just doesn't need a companion because it just generates so much value on its own. Or you need to be a deck that doesn't care about value, like Storm or Neo Brand.
Exactly.
Those decks just don't need that at all. So I think there's only 3 categories of decks right now, and I think it's a lot of cool interplay within how you build those particular decks in this new companion world.
Yeah. I haven't seen Storm run Yagantha, but I think it's similar to the human situation where it's just like, why not?
Yeah, I can.
You can cast it turn 2.
Yeah, and it beats swinging with a 1/3 or a 2/2, which I played Storm, and there are games where you just have nothing to do except attack with Baral, and you feel really silly, but why not? At least swing with like a big creature. What is Giganta? 3/3? 5/5?
Is it Vigilance? Maybe. I'm actually not sure.
Man, we should review this ahead of the podcast. I only know what Luris and Obosh do. And Yurion, I guess.
Oh, it doesn't have Vigilance, but it does tap for 5 different color mana. 5,
yeah,
5, 5, 5, taps for 5.
It taps for 5 mana. It just makes mana.
Yeah. No Vigilance.
It's just a body that you can run.
Yep. Capolo mentioning how it's in his winning deck yesterday. Am I saying it correctly now, Capolo? I hope so. He's got a YouTube video on how to say the name correctly, and I keep butchering it because I say everything incorrectly. I say Garrick. I say Urion. Apparently I say Onager funny, too, in the Age of Empires, too. So the last match we have for you tonight is an exciting-looking one, a Spider Space against Francisco Palachek. So a really, really good one. Two great players I'm looking forward to. We've had great players all night, except for St. Doom. Not sure who that guy is.
St. who?
St. Doom. Really kind of unknown guy. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. But I do have a couple more fake praying mantis facts for you. Fake praying mantis. Oh, come on, zoom.
The mantid are real, but the facts are fake.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I saw a pretty good one there.
It's a decepting image because they're teeny tiny, but we see like big. What is that? Hay?
Oh yeah, the hay's huge. Or it's their nesting egg.
It's big hay.
Yeah, big hay energy.
Oh, there's a couple. They look kind of cute when they're that small.
Yeah. But praying mantis says fake facts we were talking about. They can grow up to 100 feet long. So they can
That's a big mantis.
Also, more praying mantis fake facts. They can jump 30 feet with a single leg. Don't even need all their legs, just a single one. 30 feet, even one that's small.
You got a 100-foot mantis jumping 30 feet. That's unnerving.
You'd think it could jump higher, right?
You'd think, yeah.
Are we talking distance or height? Like are this like dunking on people?
I think it's circumference. It
Nope.
30 feet around.
Foxmen, they don't ever stop growing. They just, after 100 feet, you don't really count them anymore. At that
That's
point,
a good angle. We can see a
yeah.
lot of them now.
All right.
Oh
Nice.
yeah. Look at that focus.
At 100 feet, after that, they more mantis fake facts. They start flying, and they just fly and they leave Earth and they go settle on Mars.
Michael, I gotta ask, the mantid, are you worried about wasps, about killer wasps, murder hornets?
Oh yeah, I did hear these kill the murder hornets, but no, my wife actually got a bunch of them. This is her second time growing them, and she just releases them in her gardens. We've got 3 acres, and it's all gardens, and a nice little creek, and I built a bridge over it, and it's really, really pretty property. But she just uses it to protect the gardens from pests. They eat ticks. They eat, small mice.
Wow. I kind of want to move to your house.
Hey, yeah, we got a guest room, so
If you could carve out some studio space for the podcast, maybe we can get a conversation going.
if you guys are ever in the Boston area. I don't live near Boston, but I live in Massachusetts, so I was going to say Boston area. So yeah,
Never been.
if you guys
Never been
ever want to do the
Massachusetts.
Freedom Trail, it's like an hour and a half away from me.
All right, good to know.
Back when the world was back to normal.
No one docks Michael.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of information. 3 acres by the Freedom Trail.
Get that OPSEC.
If you actually Google
Massachusetts.
3 acres, it's not going to pop up because it's not exactly 3 acres. I'm not by the Freedom Trail. I'm an hour and a half away from it.
Oh, okay. So just
Pretty close.
yeah, pick your hour and a half radius.
Still drivable.
Your Freedom
Yeah,
Trail.
it's definitely drivable. Anyways,
Cool.
we'll have that match coming up. At the moment, I'm out of fake praying mantis facts, but maybe Shane and Stanislav will have a couple more coming up. So Spider Space against Francisco. We'll be right back.
All right, we got Francisco, a perfectly lovely gentleman. I've seen Francisco commentate. He's an amazing commentator. He's got a great mind for the game, much better than my own, I'll tell you that. And he is on Karn Amulet, similar to the deck that we saw St. Doom playing earlier.
Yeah, that's right. And he's playing against Spider Space, who's on Yorion, Jeskai, Sahili.
It looks like you would like this deck, Stan.
It really does. It really, really does. I love playing these Jeskai style decks. You know, I haven't tried Felidar Guardian in Modern in a very, very long time. But I'm kind of rooting for it here. Not to show my bias.
Showing your bias.
I don't want to show my bias, but I'm only human.
I mean, you're on camera. Be careful.
Yeah, so one of the key differences between Francisco's deck and Michael's deck, one that I'm seeing is main deck Ghost Quarter. Otherwise,
this is a tough keep. This is
pretty
a tough
similar.
Keep. We have a Gruul Turf and a Teleria West. Both come into play tapped. He has to play the Teleria West first to be able to play the Gruul Turf turn 2. Okay. Got a couple more lands. That opens up some possibilities.
Yeah, so we now have turn 3 Dryad, which could set up a turn 4 Primeval Titan.
Ooh, the Garenbrig's a nice peel.
Yeah.
Gets the clock for the Primeval Titan 1 turn earlier. But, I mean, Francisco is playing into a controlling strategy, correct? So, he has to watch out for things like Remand, like Cryptic Command.
Wait, so you're saying Spider Space has the controlling strategy?
Yes. So Francisco has to watch out for playing his powerful haymakers into open mana.
That is true. But we are talking about a Yorion deck. So when you're only running 2 Cryptic Commands, your opponent has 2 Cryptic Commands out of their 80 cards. I feel like you get to be a little bit more brave.
Well, the Yorion Jeskai Sahili deck is running kind of the classic control counter of Remand. Not the control counter, the classic combo counter of Remand. Just buy yourself that time and cycle.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Sahili. And Francisco is offering no interaction right now, of course, because most Primeval Titan decks don't at least game 1. So we'll see who's going to win this race. Okay. He has access to 4 mana for Karn, but I don't think he has anything to do with Karn after he just gets it down, so he's going to get Dryad down. Can get the bounce land down.
All right, so looks like we might be looking at turn 5 Titan.
Oh, game over.
Yeah. Okay.
So the lack of interaction on the Titan side doesn't serve it well here. Dismember, path to negation. He clearly knows this is a lot of sideboard for this. Bring in a lot of interaction, a lot of ways to kill the Felidar, a lot of ways to counter a spell with the Pact. Well, not a lot of ways. A single way to counter the spell with the Pact. The EE. I missed something else. So Singleton E, not going too ham, doesn't want to delete the strategy too much. It's not like he's facing down some kind of swarm deck.
Yeah, and the window for engineered explosives is pretty narrow for a combo deck like Sahili. In part because 2 of your most important permanents are different converted mana costs, and since the combo can be threatened, like sometimes in one turn if the game goes long enough.
What do you think?
They can eventually find that interaction to deal with the engineered explosives, even like if it's bouncing it with Cryptic Command.
Stanislav, what do you think the Rex Age is for? Like for Blood Moon, perhaps?
Yeah, Blood Moon makes sense. Omen of the Sea, you could probably deal with that, or Arkham's Astrolabe to make your Yorion a little less valuable.
Sure. I mean, it's got to be. I think it's primarily got to be for the blood moon effect, but all of those things, like you said, are definitely you take them off that value that they get from bouncing the omen, bouncing the astrolabe in a pinch, and it puts a body onto the battlefield.
Yeah, though I do think the Dryad of the Elysian Grove makes Blood Moon a little bit less game breaking for the Titan player, depending on the order that you play them.
Yeah.
So you bring it in because you have it, but I don't think it's necessarily game over for the Titan player, even if you don't draw your your removal for Blood Moon, and instead just count on Dryad to do its thing.
So Francisco's on the play here. Let's look at his opening hand options. Not a lot of ramp. How fast can we get a nope mulls quickly? So this is a lot better against a combo deck.
Yeah,
and also protects against the Blood Moon and with the Rex Sage there. Let's see what he chooses to put back.
Yeah, this is a hard choice just because you have multiple sideboard cards as as your Dryad, which is just fantastic here.
Yeah, so doesn't keep the Rex Sage. I think I'm maybe a little bit surprised because it seemed like you want to hedge your bets, but the other cards are just more powerful, probably, especially the Dismember, I think, in a creature combo-based strategy. Getting his mana engine online, Bajuka Bog into Bounce Land.
Yeah, Dismember looks so fantastic right now. Just keep 1 mana up for the rest of the game, and you pretty much have combo insurance.
Well,
assuming opponent doesn't have Teferi or interaction. May be a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's Teferi. There's also Force of Negation. So there's some protection against that. It's not lights out. All right, gets down the Bajuka Bog as the second land for the turn.
Yeah, I'm loving this Karn here just because they can start taking Spider Space off of their lands. Hopefully Spider Space doesn't have that Force of Negation now to deal with Karn.
It's kind of interesting how there's not too much in the wish board for Francisco. Like there's not like a Pithing Needle, which is kind of a classic inclusion for these sort of planeswalkery strategies. There's a Sky Sovereign Council flagship, modern staple Sky Sovereign, which potentially could be something helpful. It's definitely a boat. Womp womp.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much just banking on liquid metal coating doing a lot of work in this matchup. Ooh, Eshak. Quite good. Quite good when
not helpful.
Against the Summoner's Pact, especially.
Yeah, so what Ashiok is able to take Francisco off of all sorts of things that he wants to do, right? Like he can no longer search his library for any reason.
Right. Yeah, Summoner's Pact is dead in hand until Ashiok is gone. Might make sense to use that Engineered Explosives, put it on 3, and potentially have insurance against both Ashiok and Saheeli, maybe even Teferi for that matter.
Oh, the Force of Negation.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it looked like Spider Space was tapping out very gingerly. So not surprised to see them hold that Force of Negation as insurance.
Yeah. He knows that they have the remands, they have the Force of Negations. Okay, so continues to tick. Interesting to tick Ashiok down. Okay, there's a Felidar. This does give Francisco a way of dealing with it with the Dismember. Felidar blinking the Astrolabe. Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, but now still this Titan player is in a pretty bad position. Can't use that Summoner's Pact to get Titan online. Dismember's okay for now at least, but
so it does get the EE down on 3. Spider Space getting max value off of the Ashiok.
Yeah.
So what we can't see the entire exile zone here. I see what looks like a dryad.
I think there's a land.
Maybe. I see the word radiance. Beast Within. It's a powerful, flexible spell for things like Saheeli. So he does have methods for dealing with Saheeli right now and dealing with the Felidar Guardian.
Yeah, Beast Within is going to be good against even Fairy Time Raveler, so that you can keep the door open for your Dismember if you need to use Dismember at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
Being really careful with the Summoner's Pact. Francisco seems nervous about casting that into open blue mana. Frankly, I don't blame him.
Yeah, makes sense. Stan, why would he be nervous?
Well, blue decks often hold up interactive spells. Sometimes it's counter magic. Sometimes it's removal. Sometimes it's, all of the above. If you're talking about something like Cryptic Command.
So is he like afraid of like Sonic Blast or something?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So
Shane, have you ever cast a Sonic Blast?
Man, Psionic Blast. It's in my peasant cube. Okay. So Francisco targets the island with the Beast Within, it appears. Spider Space responds with a Cryptic. And it bounces the tapped Karoo land, just I think for the tempo disadvantage, perhaps.
Yeah, that was a Selesnya Sanctuary.
It's interesting that they wouldn't bounce their own Astrolabe, perhaps. Just for value. Oh, okay, got it. That makes sense, right? So it's like it's just to tape them off the mana, correct?
Yeah. So by doing this, Spider Space doesn't know that Francisco has the Summoner's Pact in hand, but it ultimately stopped him from getting Titan this turn by bouncing back that one land.
Yeah, if your opponent's deck is trying to create a high-powered mana engine, disrupting that is smart. That's how you know I'm good at Magic.
It's nice to natural draw a Primeval Titan, though.
See, this is the stuff that Francisco is just dreading, though. Like all of these tempo negative turns. Like what he's actually doing in his turns are not that helpful, right? So he's like, playing a Primeval Titan, they bounce it with the remand back to the hand, they get the cycle.
Yeah, and he is just like his defenses are so down at this point. Felidar Guardian is game over. He's got no interaction. That I don't think you can Summoner's Pact instant speed to get anything worthwhile at this point.
No, not with no mana. Doesn't work.
Well, Summoner's Pact is free.
He could get a Memnite.
Spider Space couldn't find the Felidar Guardian.
Yeah, so what's the play here? 5 cards in hand for Spider Space. It's crazy. Like there's so much stuff in this deck that's not hitting the battlefield. Like there's, the Spider Space has access to Snap, to Seasoned Pyromancer, to all sorts of Planeswalkers, and the entire game has been like an Astrolabe and now a Saheeli.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's counter magic. That's a lot of decisions that were made well. Man, I gotta say, Spider Space making this Saheeli deck look quite good. I've used to play against Amulet Titan on the Jeskai side before Companions, back when it was more of a Jeskai control deck without, the Saheeli combo. And it was a pretty miserable matchup. Thanks in part to Cavern of Souls. Maybe the fact that Francisco hasn't found his Cavern of Souls is also a pretty big setback at this point, too. There's the Blood Moon.
Unfortunate. But still access to a lot of green mana in the forests. Another Force of Negation.
Ooh. Ouch.
Cast at full cost. You just got it yourself a fancy cancel.
Or an expensive negate.
we do have a Rex Sage hit the battlefield, take out
Wow,
the Blood
Shane,
Minion.
you called it.
Well, sometimes you get lucky, and you have some sense of what a sideboard card might do.
Yeah, I'm expecting at this point, if Francisco can untap, they're going to start attacking that Saheeli Rai, not only because it's a combo engine, but it's also getting them through their deck to find both interactive pieces or dig toward that combo.
The Astrolabe has haste. Don't worry. All right, so Spider Space scrying and digging through the deck with Astrolabe, with Omen, gets the Yorion down. Going to get a lot of blinks here. Going to be able to scry through some more cards with the Omen, draw some more cards off the Astrolabe, resets the Saheeli Rai.
Yeah, I mean, really just digging for the combo at this point.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I believe they know the full contents of Francisco's hand, and so they know that they are just top decking. Like an Azusa now is not super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
They do get to generate zombie tokens, but they will. I think that Francisco is going to be able to present some kind of clock with the amount of zombies that he will be making, even though Spider Space does have Yorion in the air. He's not really going to be able to swing with it, I don't believe.
Saheeli just digging.
Now, see, that ping is going to add up.
You think so? You think Spider Space might win off the ping this game?
I think that's the game plan. So right now, I believe we know that there's no more Titans left in the deck. And so that definitely hurts the game plan.
All the Titans were answered?
I think that they were milled or answered. Okay.
Yeah. Hit by Ashiok, you're right. Well, Field of the Dead is still good, especially with an Azusa on the board. The problem is Francisco doesn't have a lot of ways to draw extra cards or get extra lands and generate more of those zombie tokens to get some of that inevitability engine online. Love seeing him copy the Yorion to draw a bunch of extra cards.
I like it.
Yeah, Francisco's giving the thumbs up. He respects it.
I mean, so what's Spider Space fearing on the other side, right? Is mainly top deck lands make zombies. I don't think there's too many things that Spider Space is really fearing the game being truly turned around.
Yeah, Dryad is a okay draw if they can find Valakut. Because at least now we have a plan that could snowball. And it makes every additional top deck land so much better. I also think that maybe Francisco wouldn't mind a Karn here either. I think they still have Wormcoil and Sky Sovereign in the sideboard.
Yeah, Wormcoil would definitely be helpful. Spider Space, plenty of mana, plenty of permanence.
Another
6
Saheeli.
cards in hand. There's a Felidar. Yep. Francisco has no interaction for it. So
GG's.
The combo control deck gets the job done.
Wow. I think I'm going to rent that deck on Mana Traders and run it out now that the tournament's over for today. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how the 80 cards does not seem to add to a lack of consistency in these decks, because yeah, there's so many redundant effects in Modern because the card pool is so large. So it's like, well, if I need to pad my deck out a little bit, a lot of that's going to be lands, and then I can just sort of add some more counter spells, add some more planeswalkers. I don't have to pick and choose. Like, am I running 2 Jace and 3 Teferi Time Raveler? It's like I can just run 4 if I want to.
Yeah, and it does make me wonder whether Urion made this Jeskai Sahili deck actually better in Modern, or if it's still kind of a fringe strategy, since it's always been around. And even when Stoneforge Mystic was first unbanned, I know I was playing a little bit of Jeskai Sahili there, just because now we had this new aggressive angle to attack with in case you don't have the combo. Here, we're not really doing any of that. We're just playing control, hoping to find the combo, and we have Urion to just generate some extra advantage along the way. So maybe it now gets to be a better control deck that has that combo after the coast is clear.
Could very well be.
Michael, I want to ask you, besides the match that you won, what was your favorite deck that you saw tonight? Whether it was a new deck or an older deck?
Well, the easy answer for that would be Francisco's deck, since it was like 3 or 4 cards off of mine. But that'd be cheating. So Spider Space's deck was pretty sweet. I've actually been brewing around with different Urion decks. Urion. I just don't know the right home. Like the Sahili combo, Spider Space made it look pretty good game 1, but is an 80-card deck, is that what you're looking for? Or is it better off being like an Urza deck and just generate a ton of value? Maybe we could even throw like Thopter Sword in there. Or Druid
It seems
Karn.
good in every home.
I've been playtesting it with like Devoted Druid Karn, like the deck that we were talking about earlier, Shane. Add some more cards, like add Coatl, Astrolabe, add Euro to that deck. All of a sudden you have 80 cards and you still have that turn 3 win condition deck. It's just, there's so many different directions. Garrett Martin, who played in match 2, he's in brewing a Collected Company Urion deck, which sounds pretty sweet because the creatures are so redundant in Modern. Why not? Why not add a free companion to a deck?
I have a question. Have you tried testing any companions for Titan? Is it a worthy endeavor at all? Like, how much worse is Titan if you add 20 cards to the library?
Pretty. It'd be a lot worse to add 20 more. I'm sure. I haven't tested it. I don't know if Francisco has. He's in the chat. So Francisco, let us know if you've tested. Yeah, very much worse than 20 more cards is what the chat's saying. I just don't see, you want to hit certain cards so much in Titan, and I don't like. Sure, it'd be cool to blink a Titan, but if that's what we were trying to do, I think we just run like an Hour of Promise anyway, because that card is basically a blinking a Titan, and we don't even need to run that. So, and the mana is a little weird. Like, what is it? White, or blue? I guess we can get to the blue, but yeah, adding 20 cards would mean you're seeing less Titans, you're seeing less Bounce Lands, you're seeing less Castle Gambrigs, you're seeing less turn 1 Amulets or Scouts, you're seeing less Azusas / Dryads. We could add 20 cards. It'd be pretty easy. You could add all, one of each utility land. I just don't think I think it'd be a great F&M deck. I just don't think it'd be a great competitive like MTGO deck.
Yeah.
Stan, what's the deck you like the most?
Oh, definitely that Spider Space deck was the most Stan deck that I saw of the night.
Definitely a Stanny deck.
Yeah. Watching people play Neobrand is always a learning experience for me, just because I've never played against it, and whenever I'm paired against it and I don't have interaction, I just F6. So actually seeing it like play out and try to wiggle its way out of a tough situation was interesting. It's such a degenerate deck though, that like I remember when it first came out, it was just like instant ban radar. Now it seems to be a little bit more even-tempered, at least in the Magic community, because they've seen how inconsistent it can be. We even saw that tonight, for that matter. But I don't know. Seeing Neobrand get reps in is always interesting, because I feel like that's one of those decks that's one card away from being even more broken. and maybe it can happen. Like it can have that Dryad of the Legion Grove effect that one card makes it not even more broken, but just like easier to play and more consistent in the process.
We had that with Once Upon a Time, kind of breaking Neoform a little bit, because that grabbed any creature that was really relevant to put into your hand, which is just such a broken ability from that deck. I hate Neobrand so much. I'm so glad I was able to personally eliminate one of the Neobrand decks from this tournament. For those who aren't aware, when a deck loses in this tournament, it's gone forever, which means Francisco no longer has Amulet Titan for the rest of this tournament. It means KO Diamonds no longer has Neobrand, etc., etc. When you lose the deck, it's gone. When you lose with all 3 decks, you're gone. Tomorrow we will be having some elimination rounds, so we will be seeing some players get eliminated for the first time tomorrow.
That's dramatic.
Yeah, thankfully I am not in that pool because I won today, but you will be seeing some of the players actually. Not all of the players, but some of the players that lost today will be. Actually, all of the players that lost tonight will be in the elimination round tomorrow.
Well, good luck to them.
Yeah. I have one more question for you, Michael, as a Titan player. We've been seeing Titan, like, even since Once Upon a Time got banned. It still goes in and out of the Amulet plan. Like, even within the last couple months, we were seeing Titan decks be very successful without Amulet and just counting on Dryad. What draws you to the Amulet version in particular?
So I started playing Titan decks. I was drawn to the Breach variant, not with Scape Shift, but just a generic Breach, not Emrakul, just Breach into Titan and win. I was really in love with the mid-range idea, and I found I was winning more games just by playing a 6/6 than anything else. When I got fed up with Abzan Company because I couldn't beat Thing in the Ice, I was drawn to this combo deck that was able to tutor up different answers. So the Titan decks that don't run Amulet, those are more like Titan Shift decks. I know they have different splashes, different colors, but Amulet Titan itself is really this deck that can find specific answers to specific problems, whether that's Bajuka Bog, Radiant Fountain, Tolaria West. And Tolaria West is the big one because I have been seeing some of the other Titan Shift decks now with Dryad running Bajuka Bog and Radiant Fountain when they couldn't before. But being able to find these different answers, being able to win from spots you couldn't win before, being able to manipulate game states where if you top deck a certain way, you can just win on the spot, which I think is really important, at least for me in Modern. You can't do that with Titan Shift. You can with Amulet Titan because it's more explosive. It's harder to play around, and it's also harder to play. So I hope that long answer, a little bit of back history, but I think the big thing is you can turn it. You as a pilot can pivot where you want to go, where I don't think you can do that with the Titan Shift decks.
Yeah. Checks out.
I highly recommend anybody who's learning Titan Shift, Amulet Titan, check out Francisco's YouTube. He's got a lot of introductory videos there, along with some expert play. So once again, where can we find the Dive Down? I'm a bit confused. Is it all capitals, all lowercase? Where can we find you guys?
Well, it's all one word.
That's the important thing. Don't try to put spaces in the address bar. It's not going to work.
Yeah, no underscores, nothing. Shane, where do you usually find us?
Let's see. So I find us at thedivedown.com, and it takes me to our Fireside page where I administer all the back of house stuff. You can also find, if you search the Dive Down, you're going to find what? Let's look. What comes up? We get our Fireside
we're on page 1 of Google,
Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, Patreon, YouTube, Player FM. Don't go there. They're probably like getting some ad dollars from rebroadcasting our stuff. Bunch of Reddit pages, Spotify. All those things are great places to find us.
Get you on YouTube here too.
Yeah, youtube.com/thedivedown, all one word. That's us. We had to steal that from some scuba divers, but
we also have the best place to actually find us is our Slack, and that is the entry level benefit to our Patreon. I'm not trying to pimp the Patreon, but $1 an episode. That's when you join the Dive Down Nation, and we have a really awesome Slack. People interacting every day. We interact there with people. We have a lot of great Magic, non-Magic conversation. It's a lot of fun. That's been the best part of podcasting, honestly, is having the community that formed around it.
The super secret Slack channel.
Yeah, it's the one.
The chat mentioned it. Yeah, I know. Blame the chat.
Chat is a secret.
Yeah, don't OPSEC chat.
We have another website. It's mtgbanswhen.com. If you're ever curious if there's an upcoming ban, we usually update that website. It's a very simple website. It's just text, but we started publishing some original MTG webcomics on there.
Oh, that should be fun. I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Yeah, mtgbanswen.com. No spaces.
Yeah, it's pretty self-indulgent, but so is everything we do.
Well, see you, Zanman. Thanks for Zanman, thanks for hanging out.
Hey, Zanman was in the chat.
Hey, Zanman. He's been streaming a ton.
Citizen of the nation.
Yeah, citizen of the nation, very early citizen. It's awesome to have him there and see him grow as a streamer. So be sure to check out Zanman.
That's what the Modern Streamers League is all about. It's about getting, it's first and foremost, we're having a lot of fun with it. But it's about putting spotlights on content creators out there in the Magic community. We have some better known players and lesser known players, and just about giving them more attention, more spotlight. Because let's be real, no one's doing this to make bank, right? You're not an MTG content creator to get rich. You're doing it because you love the game.
You're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your $1 Slack probably adds up, but you're not doing it to get rich. You're doing it because you love doing it, and if you make a little bit of money on the side, that's got to be an extra too. So all these content creators are spending a lot of time making. Honestly, it's not for the money, but the money just helps justify to their spouse, to their significant other. Oh no, look, I made $13. Like it helps.
Exactly.
It helps in the long run, but it's for you, the fans. It's for the people who need more content or want more content. I know me personally, a big reason the Modern Streamers League was started was because I was like, why isn't there this? There should be more content like this, where the players get together and found their own league, and that's what I'm glad you guys did. You guys wanted a podcast that you did, and now you have one. So it's fantastic. So definitely go out there, support your content creators.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It's been awesome. It's my second time doing this. It's a lot of fun. It's great to do this with Stan. So I'm sure we'll be happy to be back another time. I'm sure Dave would like to be on too.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys on again. Thank you very much for hanging out. Modern Streamers League is sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder. Shane, what's your final thoughts on the night?
Some fast matches. Some modern happened. I liked seeing the Ozolith in action. Unfortunately, I actually didn't see the Ozolith itself in action, but got to see Hardened Scales still being good. Got to see Yorion do some shenanigans. That's definitely a powerful card. I think that Modern is constantly changing, which is surprising to say about Modern, but it's always going somewhere new and interesting, and I think always still captivates players, so that makes me happy.
Yes. Stan?
Modern is good. It's my favorite format. Seeing high-level players compete is super interesting. So I kind of just want to echo what Shane said. I was so grateful to be included in this, and not only just see these players, run out their decks that they're experts in, but being able to chat with you, Michael, is really fun. Seeing that there's some people in the chat engaging with us as well. Super cool. It's nice to feel like we're part of a big community, even when we just started this. We thought we wouldn't have like any listeners at first, and like as a result, we've like met so many of our cool fans. We met people like you, some of the other streamers that we've had on our podcast. So it's nice like this that make me feel like Magic is good. So
Magic
keep up
is
the good
great.
work. Keep up the good work, Michael, and everyone else involved.
Oh, thank you. We certainly will. Check out the credits for all of those people involved, and including all of the players. ModernStreamersLeague.com, where you can get up-to-date information, or just follow us on Twitter, Modern Streamers. Thank you guys very much. Definitely check out the Dive Down. They're a fantastic podcast. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Stanislav. And
Thank you.
have a good night.
Good
See you
night.
next time.